What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video. Today we are looking at this, and it is motorists drive off collapsed bridge last moment. And this is actually a story which, let's read here the description and actually get an idea of what it's all about. So the Tasman Bridge disaster occurred on the evening of 5th of January 1975, so that's a while back, in Hobart, the capital city of Australia island state of Tasmania, when a bulk or carrier travelling up the Derwent River collided with several pylons of the Tasman Bridge, causing a large section of the bridge deck to collapse onto the ship and into the river below. Damn. 12 people were killed, including 7 crew on board the ship, and the 5 occupants of 4 cars, which fell 45 meters, that's 150 feet, after driving off the bridge. Hobart was cut off from the eastern suburbs, and the loss of the road connection had a major social impact. The ship's master was officially penalized for inattention and failure to handle his vessel in a seaman-like manner. Wow, that does sound scary. So yeah, it's the first time I've actually heard of this story. So let's actually watch what we got. This video is by QXIR. Let's like it and let's see what we got. Sounds scary, but let's see.
It's a moment we've all seen 1,000 times before. A car teetering precariously on the edge of certain doom. But despite how many times you may have seen it, can you think of a single example that wasn't staged for the screen? A real car perched on a real precipice with real occupants genuinely fearing for their lives? Here's one.
Big fear,
This is from the Tasman Bridge collapse, when a large ship ploughed through the bridge's supports, sending a huge section of road plummeting 45 meters below. Our story takes us to Australia, 1975, more specifically Hobart, the capital city of Australia's island state Tasmania. It was around 9:30 at night on a Sunday, January 5th, when the bulk carrier Lake Illawarra was carrying 10,000 tons of zinc ore concentrate up the Derwent River. The Derwent River divides the city of Hobart into two, east and west. The two halves of the city are connected by the Tasman Bridge, which is over 1 kilometre in length and suspended some 45 metres above the Derwent River. The Lake Illawarra would have to pass under the Tasman Bridge then. It made its approach near the eastern shore. The ship slowed down to allow for safer passage, but it was struggling to align itself with the span it intended to pass through. At this slower speed, the captain struggled as he wrestled the ship against the strong current. All the while, the ship drifted towards the bridge. Eventually, the captain realized he would not right the ship before it reached the span and called out, "Full speed astern," attempting to pull the ship back out of its current predicament, but it was too late. Lake Illawarra crashed through 2 pile cappings, bringing down the piers, and with them 3 now unsupported spans of the bridge.
Like, can that ship actually knock down that whole bridge? I'm actually shocked. Like, just imagine how much weight just got smashed into those pillars. Jeez,
around 130 metres of roadway came crashing down, some straight into the water's depths, some onto the ship's deck. Fortunately, the Sunday night traffic was light, and there were no cars on the section of bridge that collapsed. However, there were still motorists travelling across the bridge, which was now split by a huge divide, unbeknownst to them. Murray Ling was travelling with his wife and 2 kids when suddenly the lights on the bridge flickered off, alerting them that something may be wrong. Murray slowed the car as he and his wife watched ahead for a potential accident, though they were straining to see through the foggy night on the unlit roadway. There were 2 cars ahead, allowing them to follow their lights, but suddenly these 2 cars disappeared. They had driven straight over the edge. Murray slammed on his brakes, bringing the car to a halt just before the plunge. However, the reaction time of the car behind them was not as quick, and it slammed into the back of Murray's car. The car was propelled forward, but thankfully stopped with both its front wheels hanging over the side. Murray helps his family out of the car, then notices two cars coming up in the adjacent lane. He tries to wave them down, but the cars drive past. One even has to swerve to avoid Murray. Both cars fly off the edge. In total, 5 people across 4 cars have been killed. Murray Ling does manage to wave down a bus full of people, which swerves and crashes into the side railings.
Just look at how the bridge literally cut. Like, that's a neat cut, you know, so wow.
The occupants, unaware that the accident they have suffered at the hands of the madman on the road had saved their lives. But there was another motorist on the way. Frank and Sylvia Manley were travelling in Frank's Holden Monero, apprehensive at the lack of lights on the bridge. Frank slowed to 40 kilometers per hour, and the two kept their eyes peeled for something wrong. There were stationary tail lights ahead. Suddenly, Sylvia noticed the white line down the middle of the road appeared to abruptly end. Realising the bridge wasn't there, she called out to Frank to stop. He slammed on the brakes. The Monero screeched towards the edge. It looked like they were going to slide into the drop as the front wheels passed over the brink, but thankfully the car came to a stop and balanced on the large automatic transmission pan.
I mean, just imagine how scared they were in that situation. Like, literally hanging off the bridge, and below them is just like a dead end. I mean, bro, I would be shocked. Like, I would not know what to do in that sort of situation. It's just hard to believe.
The two got out. Frank peered over the edge. Below, he saw what he described as a massive black hole. What he was seeing was a whirlpool. The Lake Illawarra had sunk. 7 crew members were trapped on board and drowned as the ship went down. With the 2 cars teetering on the edge, the tragedy was over. But the story wasn't. Emergency services, as well as private citizens and businesses with boats at their disposal, descended on the scene, saving the lives of many Lake Illawarra crew members. A court of marine inquiry later found the captain of the vessel guilty of careless navigation and suspended his certificate of competency for 6 months. In the wake of the incident, Hobart found itself lacking a bridge, which saw heavy use as it connected the 2 sides of the city. This image shows the importance of the bridge in relation to the area. Residents were forced to travel kilometers away to make use of a bridge out in the suburbs.
Wow, so that one bridge, that was the only bridge which you could cross to the other side. So now, I mean, people will be having a hard time getting to the other side. Unless if they had, like, I don't know, boats taking people, but still, you need your car. It's a hassle.
For some, what was once a 3-minute trip across the Tasman Bridge had turned into an hour-and-a-half long journey.
Wow.
This was incredibly frustrating for residents, made worse by the slow progress in repairing the bridge. Before construction work could even begin, a lengthy process of surveying and clearing the massive debris underwater had to be carried out. It would be nearly 3 years before the bridge was reopened. This had a significant impact on the city, especially the eastern shore, which was home to about 30% of Hobart's residents. Most of the businesses and facilities were located in the west side. This eventually resulted in developments in the east's services and amenities as they became a more self-contained community. Many ferry services were set up to
This is exactly what I mentioned as well. But just imagine, the bridge was gone and people were having a really hard time. That must have been like a horrible time for those people.
take travellers across the Derwent River while the Tasman Bridge was inaccessible. A year after the incident, a temporary Bailey Bridge was installed that allowed 1 lane of traffic in each direction to once again cross the river. In October
enough.
1977, the Tasman Bridge was reopened. The repair had cost $44 million and featured some new additions, including a new lane and improved safety measures such as a guidance system for passing ships. In 1984, an extra bridge crossing was completed a few kilometres north of the Tasman Bridge. And so, Hobart had not only minimised the chances of such a tragedy occurring again, but also mitigated the resulting hardship of losing such an important bridge. Of course, that doesn't bring back the 12 who lost their lives that night. There is a plaque commemorating the tragedy on the bridge,
That's good.
but perhaps a more striking reminder is the gap where one of the two destroyed supports once stood. This single pier was not replaced, as there was too much debris at the site. Its absence now serves as a permanent marker for the place where 12 people spent their last moments.
Wow.
3-1000.
I mean, that was a really interesting story. Never heard of it, to be honest. So I'm actually glad I discovered this story in Australia. So it must have been a really, really hard time for those people. I mean, the lives that were also lost as well. That was a shame. But yeah, let me know, guys, what you think of this in the comments below. Hope you enjoyed. If you do have any other video suggestions, do drop them in the comment section below. And that is it for today, guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next video. Peace out.